During the 19th century, Istanbul has been involved in a westernization process that has occurred for the many different forces coming from the western side, economical forces, industrial forces, and also political forces. The problem that regarded the Ottoman state has been the loss of the different countries all around the eastern part and also the western part. In fact, after the Wien defeat, everything became to be in danger for the sultans until the beginning of the 19th century. During the 19th century, a lot of transformation occurred by the steam, for example, power involved in the industry transformation, or the economic transformation for the changes of the market and the different product that the market has proposed, has transformed also the shape of the town. A town that was characterized by markets, typical Ottoman markets, and trade centers that were connected to those markets. The transformation of the town so has involved new structures, new wharf, new industries, and mainly new marketplaces. An image that should be imposed by the Western and accepted by the Ottomans. Throughout the 19th centuries, Western influences has been imposed in the buildings. New buildings has to be introduced in the town, but the shape of the town was not ready for having those kind of buildings. Let's start, for example, for the economical side. The economical side has needed banks, for example, so the shape of the new buildings should have been adopted as the Western banks, because the Ottoman banks were not existing still in the 19th century, and so those new buildings has to be copied by the Western side. Another mention could be also the wharf or the side of the docks. The docks have been shaped for the small transports based on sailing system, traditional sailing system, with those sailing systems that were based with human transportation of the materials from the ship until the market or the places where those material has to be sent. New docks has to be planned, and those docks has been copied for the Western traditions, because the Western tradition were taking also the new ships with the new engine power, the steam engine power. Those ships were bigger, faster, and also with different way of transport the materials. The materials were stocked and not transported by human, but only from cranes and other different other machines. Another aspect has been the fireproofing, for example. New materials also in the buildings. The buildings has been characterized since the Ottoman period by wooden buildings, because only the stone buildings regarding the mosque and the buildings that were around those mosques has been allowed to be built in stone. Also, naturally, the Sultan's palace. But the other buildings has to be built in wood. First of all, for an earthquake problem, we shouldn't forget that Istanbul is built on an earthquake zone, so the earthquake has characterized the whole Ottoman history. Second of all, because there is a belief that is connected with the religion's aspect, because only the gold building has been last forever, and so been built in stone. Another aspect is the aspect for enlarging those buildings. A wooden building is better enlarged if it is built in wood. So the wood can be built bigger, less expensive, and you can build it in a quicker way. The danger aspect is the danger regarding the fire. a lot of fires characterized also the Ottoman side, built in wood and mainly realized for living, not for stocking the materials, because the materials were stocked in the western side, the Galata and actually the Beyoğlu sides. It's the side that were belonging to those people that were merchants, the Levantines. Levantines were people that were not Muslims, but were allowed to make trades, to live outside the town that is the Istanbul, so they were living in Galata, and they were characterized to feel themselves belonging to the Ottoman states, but being the side of the Western Ottoman aspect. The revolution has started in that side, starting from Galata and starting from Pera, where all the embassies of the Western countries were characterized, has been realized an important transformation of the town. Starting from there, the economic power took place. New banks, new aspects of the economy has been developed. In fact, was that the side from the 6th municipality that a new structure, a new administrative structure took place. A new administrative structure for managing all the new transformation, tramways, tunnels, marketplaces, banks, new cafes, new operas. The aspect of the Europe were facing the Ottoman side and were taking place. The Ottomans in the beginning evaluated an opportunity for trades, and then they went involved in the transformation and became a part of it. For example, the first hotel, the first banks, the first hospitals, and late of all, the new Sultan's Palace took place in the eastern part of Istanbul. But it was the western side, the side characterized by the Levantine. The different religions, the different aspects, Greeks, Orthodox and Muslims, Christians, all living together in a new shape of the town, while the immigrants coming from the countries that year after year has taken the opportunity to free from the Ottoman government, they were living in the old part of the town that hasn't been transformed. Generally, the Ottoman Empire arrived late to the railroad system, and for example, starting until the 1850, there was no railroad in the Ottoman Empire. If we do a parallel with the Great Britain or the United States, we see that in the same period, the United States had something like 14,000 kilometers of tracks, and Great Britain had quite 10,000 kilometers of tracks. But we have to arrive until the end of the 19th century, because at the end of the 19th century, during the starting from the second half of the 19th century, a great effort has been realized by the Ottomans for realizing new structures, new tracks, arriving at the end of the 19th century to have more than 8,000 kilometers of tracks, involving all the countries on the western side, the Balkans, actually the Greeks and the Romanian sides, and arriving to the Baghdad sides. Likewise, the introduction of railroads required workers familiar with the technology. This meant foreign imported labor, at least for a while. In addition, railroad building required vast sums laid tracks to purchase engines and cars before operation could have been initiated. In 1872, Istanbul officials invited the German engineer Wilhelm von Pressel to submit a master plan for an Ottoman rail network. Pressel, 10-year plan, called the Great 2,700 kilometer tracks line from the Asian shore of Istanbul to a Persian Gulf. Two stations have been realized, one in the west side and the other in the east side. based mainly in two different aspects of the 19th era. The Haydar Pasha terminal in 1871, Sultan Abdulaziz ordered a real line to be built from Haydar Pasha to Izmir. Haydar Pasha station opened in 1872 when the railway reached Gebze. Since the station was built next to the Bosphorus, freight trains would unload at Haydar Pasha and freight would have been transferred to ships. Building we see today, it's the building that has been realized later as the second building and has been realized by two German architects. Two German architects that realized quite a castle adorned by the Italian and German decoration. The construction has been started in 1906, completed on August 1909, inaugurated in 1909 for the anniversary of Mehmed V. The other station has been realized in the western side. The western side where Sirkeci, where the famous line connecting Istanbul to the Europe, has arrived running from the side around the Topkapi Palace and until the station that were facing the Golden Horn. The station was named Sirkeci. Sirkeci has been a station realized in 1888, opened 2 years later. The architect was August Jachmann, again a German architect. A German architect that realized a station with that has been a symbol, has realized a symbol for the Ottoman eclecticism. In fact, the design influenced other architects. The position of the building has been influenced by the permission of the Sultan Abdulaziz that allowed the route to run to the shoreline of Sea of Marmara, bordering the walls of Topkapi Palace lower garden. The building was also modern because it has got gas lighting and also a heating inside for many rooms. During the 19th century, 3 ambitious urban design schemes were drafted for Istanbul. Their aims were modernization of the communication network and creation of an urban image based on European technology and cultural values. Foreign engineers and architects were commissioned for all 3 plans. The first scheme was a scheme by Helmut von Moltke, and it is dated in the first year of the 19th century. Helmut von Moltke was involved in a representation of a plan of Istanbul and later on for an idea for a transformation plan. This plan was characterized by widening of streets and was characterized also of an archaeological aspect. A reprise of the urban aspect of the Byzantine plan, the plan of the Mese, and starting from the Theodosian walls. Widening of the street for the streets inside the town, connecting the Theodosian wall until the Hagia Sophia place, the Hippodrome space, and also from the wharf facing the Golden Horn. The Golden Horn was still involved in trades, but without any bridge at that time. Von Moltke proposed 5 major arteries in all the town peninsula. The waterfront on the both sides of the Golden Horn was also cleaned up by a reorganized network. However, the problem was the position of the monuments. The mosques and the madrasa couldn't be moved, neither couldn't be transported. So all the schemes were adapted, but they remained still schemes because there were no idea of how the town could be transformed, neither the intention to transform. The idea was to satisfy the idea of the Western embassies to a beginning of the transformation also of the idea of the Ottoman Empire. I mean, the new aspect was an aspect of showing how the town could accept the transformation, but there was no intention of realizing really those transformations. The first plan that defined a metropolitan area was the Athnoden Ring Road. The first stretch of the railroad leading from the Ottoman capital was completed in 1873 on the Asian side of the Bosphorus. It ran from Haydar Pasha to the Sea of Marmara, just south of Üsküdar, the town of Izmit, about 10 kilometers at the east. On the European side, the link between Istanbul and the Edirne was completed in 1875. The main aspect of the scheme was a connection between east and west, realizing two bridges that has been characterized by his own aspect made of iron, made of stone, and characterized also of an aspect of decoration. The bridge between Sarayburg and Üsküdar would act as an imposing gate to Istanbul. It was a suspended cable structure with 3 piers of iron, 2 at each end, 130 minutes from each shore and 1 in the middle. Nevertheless, it did incorporate a few Islamic revivalist features. The pylons were topped within teeny domes and were anchored by structure reassembling mosque with minarets. But the other aspect is the second bridge. The second bridge is a bridge built completely in stone for the 3 pillars, and has been realized with really 3 mosques on it. Mosques that could have been used either as a passage but also as a mosque. In contrast to the more functional looking iron steel bridge at the gate of Bosphorus, the Hamidiye bridge, named after the Sultan, had more romantic connotation in stone pillars because it became mosque at the passage level. Each mosque had a central domes and then 4 minarets. Also, this plan remained on the paper because there had been any intention by the Sultan, because the problem was the matching of the tradition requested by the persons that were arriving at the migration process by the loss of the different countries after the independence of the Greeks, independence on the Balkans, and from the opposite side, but from the pressure of the economic aspect based on new requests for transportation and trades. Another plan of the Beauvoir planning has been realized by Joseph Antoine Bouvard, Inspector General of the Architectural Department of the city of Paris. Paris has been always a referring city for all the aspect managing the town, managing the cultural, managing all the aspect of high-level living of the bourgeois. So, having a person who has been involved in the transformation of Paris, mainly for the Great Exposition, could have been an advantage for an aspect for showing the plans, for showing new aspect of the Ottoman planning, for showing how the government was changed. The minister of the Sultan sent to Paris sought out Boulevard and asked him to develop a master plan for Istanbul. Although overloaded with responsibilities in Paris that prevented him from visiting the Ottoman capital, Bouvard did not turn down the offer. Instead, he ordered a large-scale photographs of the city as an aid for the preparation of the avant-projet. He realized so 3 schemes based on watercolors, schemes that has been superimposed on the cities and has involved the Hippodrome, the Bayazid Square, and the new Galata Bridge. Schemes that has been realized as an Art Nouveau transformation of the town and that has been used by the Sultan for showing to the Western companies, to the Western governments, how the Istanbul could have been transformed in few years, and so pushing them to invest new capitals and new efforts in new companies in Istanbul.